So I promised you that I would make saffron rice, and it's pretty straightforward, but I can show you if you want to. So first off, we have our rice. You can use, here in this part of the world, traditionally basmati is used, but when I had saffron rice in New Orleans, it was made with long grain. This is a long grain rice right now, so as long as you're keeping the rice-water ratios correct for whatever type of rice you're cooking, then it's going to be just fine. So that's a sprout grower, in case you were wondering what that weird contraption was. So for long grain rice, it's 2-to-1 water ratio. I like my rice al dente, so you want to cut back on the water just a little bit. That should be good. Do it just a little more. Okay, so once you've added the water to the rice, pop that on the stove, and then we add the saffron. Now, I don't know how other people make it as far as adding the spices go, but for me, I've gotten good results with just adding the saffron to the water. And this is fake saffron. You would not use this liberal amount of real saffron because you probably wouldn't need to, but this doesn't quite have the same quality and taste. So you wanna use a good handful of it just to give it the color and the flavor you want. It's got a really buttery flavor to it, even though you don't need to put butter on it. I'll show you how we add the rest of the flavoring once the rice is cooked, but that's a ton of saffron, and we are going to cook our rice. Now, to start off with, you can already see that the water is turning yellow. That nice yellow color is going to go into our rice and all the buttery flavor of the spice. So, Georgie wants to help. With that, we turn on the burner, put the lid on the rice, and we are going to let that reach the boiling point and then boil for a total of 5 minutes. After 5 minutes of the rice boiling, we turn it off completely and you just let it sit by itself for 20 minutes. So I don't think I need to film that for you guys. Boil it. Once it's boiling, time 5 minutes, and then leave it for 20. Just turn the whole stove off. Don't mess around with it. Don't lift the lid off unless it's boiling over. And in which case, just try not to lift the lid. You get the best results when you don't lift the lid on the rice, but it's not going to mess anything up if it's boiling over. Okay, I will come back when the rice is done, and I'll show you what to do with it after that. Alright, everyone, so the rice has been cooking on the stove for about 25 minutes now. That is 5 minutes till when it was at boiling point, and then just left on the stove for 20 minutes after that. So, as you can see, the grains aren't stuck together. They're nice and fluffy. If your grains of rice are a little bit more sticky, that means you have to leave them alone for a longer time. If they come out and they're cooked and they're nice and they're loose and they're a little bit al dente, then you can pretty much start the next step in the cooking process. But it's good to let them sit. This has been sitting for about an hour, hour and a half, just so that a little bit of the moisture evaporates from them, and then you'll have an even better texture to your rice. If you open it up and it looks like you've messed it up, try sticking it in the fridge overnight, and then the next day, loosen it up again, and you'll usually get a better result as far as texture goes. So I'm going to go prep for the next stage of cooking this. And at this point, we've only added the saffron. So it's just saffron and rice, and you've already got that nice yellow color and a bit of buttery flavor to it. But we're going to take that up in the next. Alright, so we've got our pan heating up with olive oil. Add the spices directly to the oil, not on top of the rice. You can also do it with butter, whatever you find gives it a better flavor. So in it, I've already put some salt, about a teaspoon. That's the cumin, and that's about half a teaspoon. I'm making a serving for about 2 people. I'm not going to put all of the rice in. And you want about 1/4 of a teaspoon of rose water, which is what I'm adding now. I like mine a little bit more rosy, so I'll go as far as to add half, but rose water is actually really strong. Now, from this base of spices, you can pretty much add what you want. So I'm going to add some chopped garlic, because I'm Polish, and I don't care if I'm making it, it's got to have garlic. So a little bit of crushed garlic. I think Suzanne had a little bit of pepper and red pepper. Alright. So in that goes. Let it all brown and the oils start to take on the flavors of the spices because we're going to put the rice in. And I'm going to come back when I'm in the process of cooking the rice. Alright, so the cumin, when you taste the rice, you should be able to taste a fair bit of spice from it. Just a spicy, slightly warm but not hot spice from the cumin. And then the rose water, you want to have added enough just so that it's got a light aroma to it. And you can taste the floral undertones when you eat it. It's more of a smell. There's not a lot of actual flavor to rose water, but most of our taste buds pick up on things via smell anyway, so you are going to get what you perceive to be as a lot of flavor from the rose water. So when you can smell the rose and taste the spice, you've got it perfect. And I'm just going to dish it up and serve it. It's ready to go now. You want to stop cooking it just as the rice starts to turn crispy in the oil. Once it's starting to crisp up, it's done. Alright, so here is our lovely saffron rice with some tourist Turkish apple tea, not the traditional tea. And don't be afraid to make a big batch of it, because if you sit it in the fridge overnight, once you have done the oil and the spices part of the cooking process, you can just reheat it in the pan without any oil, or with very little tiny bit of oil just to keep it from sticking, and the spices will actually intensify as they sit on the rice. So I'm actually going to make up the rest of my rice now and put it in the fridge for later. Alright, thanks for watching, and enjoy the saffron.